للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له الملك الحق المبين وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله سيد ولد آدم أجمعين صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين على مر الأيام والليالي والشهور والسنين وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين وسلم تسليما كثيرا إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. We continue in our lesson on this inshallah Layla Mubarakah, 6:46 p.m. Wednesday, December the 19th, 2018, which now is the time is flying like the wind. And these are like the signs of the hours. We know that the Prophet ﷺ had taught about these signs of the day of resurrection. That wasn't me. This came up on my Islamic app. I don't know why. See, watch. So nobody won't think anything about AbdurRazzaaq. Yeah. So nobody won't think some funny business going on. Rabi' al-Thani, the 10th of Rabi' al-Thani, 1440 after the Hijrah of Mustafa alayhi salatu wassalam. These phones are musibah. طيب. So we know, Ya ma'ashar al-ikhwa, that the times are flying very fast. It's actually the 11th night of Rabi' al-Thani. The Rabi' al-Thani. It just seems like I just said Rabi' al-Awwal last week. We're in Rabi' al-Thani already. The 10th of Rabi' al-11th night of Rabi' al-Thani, 1440 after the Hijrah, after the migration of Mustafa alayhi salatu wassalam. And we know these are from the signs of the day of resurrection, as the Prophet ﷺ clearly mentioned and said that min alamat as-sa'a taqarubul azman. That from the signs of the hours that time will start to pass by very quickly. And those are the signs that we see in front of us, that they manifest, or some of its signs have manifested, or they have materialized. And we see that it's happening right in front of us. So all these from the signs which Allah have revealed to His Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam, in which we see how Allah Ta'ala is manifesting the truth even to the non-Muslims. Even in their studies of what they call health and all these different things, they're starting to debunk a lot of their theories and embrace a lot of their concepts. Rather, they're not concepts. Rather, they embracing what Islam calls to. People fasting now, that's the new thing. If you look inside the world of fitness, that's the new thing now. Everybody fasting. Something the Muslims have been doing for thousands and thousands of years. But now, because the non-Muslims are doing it, everybody is doing it now. Rather, that's something that the Muslims should have been doing. And stop having doubt in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent down. But all these are from the signs that Allah Ta'ala has made in order to show what He's revealed is the truth, manifesting it everyone clearly to the people. And this is what Allah has mentioned in His book, as He says, Tabarak wa Ta'ala, سنريهم آياتنا في الآفاق وفي أنفسهم حتى يتبين لهم أنه الحق أولم يكفي ربك أنه على كل شيء شهيد. As Allah Ta'ala says in His book, He says, we will show them our signs in the horizons and even in themselves. Meaning in themselves, in their own bodies. Different signs. What you see, that's what they're doing now. You see them calling to fasting now. That's the new thing in the fitness world. Fasting, intermittent. They call it IF, intermittent fasting. He said, we will show them our signs in the horizons and even in themselves until it becomes clear to them that it's the truth. Isn't this not suffice your Lord and He's adequate, or suffices that He's a witness over everything? So these signs, Ya Ma'ashal Ikhwas, are things which pushes us to be an incentive that we hasten towards trying to educate ourselves in the religion, as these type of sittings is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves. He loves the sittings of knowledge when the people are studying amongst themselves, as it's a type of dhikr. It's a type of remembrance, especially from those who have their niyyah or their intention correct. Then the angels will come down and envelop their wings, as right now, inshallah, as we don't know the unseen, that these are from the sittings that the angels actually descend upon. And they envelop their wings to the talab al-ilm, for the student of knowledge out of pleasure of what he's doing. So as we talked about, Ya Ma'ashal Ikhwan, we arrived to the last part of the chapter in the Masail and the matters that were mentioned. We stopped at the point where it says, الثالثة هي المسألة الكبيرة تفسير قوله قل لا إله إلا الله بخلاف ما عليه ما يدعي العلم. He says the third matter is a المسألة الكبيرة. It's a major matter, which is the tafsir, or the explanation of the statement, say, O my uncle, La ilaha illallah, in contrast to what those who claim to have knowledge are upon. What is he talking about? Before we finish or actually repeat or emphasize what is preceded in the last lesson, before we move on, as we said in the hadith, if everyone looks in their books of what happened with Abu Talib radiallahu an, astaghfirullah, with the message of Allah sallallahu Abu Talib, astaghfirullah, was a slip of the tongue. When the Messenger of Allah sallallahu had mentioned to his uncle, Abu Talib, I didn't mention that was a slip of the tongue, everyone, because Abu Talib died in the state of kufr, as we know. Abu Talib, his uncle, that we said in regards to what the Messenger of Allah sallallahu had did, that if he would have said and uttered La ilaha illallah, then it would have been what? It would have been given a ruling that he died in the state of Islam. Whether or not his intention was something else, and we said and discussed this from last class, we said what, everyone? What did we say? What did we discuss last class in regards to what? About intentions and what people display, and what their intention is between them and Allah. As we discussed that last class, right, everyone? Did we not discuss that? طيب. So if he would have took shahada, Abu Talib, then it would have been given the ruling that he died in the state of Islam. As far as what he intended or what is in his heart, that's between him and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We talked about the statement of Abdullah ibn Utbah ibn Mas'ud, of what he heard from Umar al-Khattab, that I told everyone. I think some of the brothers found it, the actual translation of the other, which is Mukharrajun fi as-Sahih, min al-Bukhari, where we said that Umar al-Khattab said that profound statement that had tremendous benefits in it. A lot of benefits. Where he says, كُنَّا نَأْخُذُكُمْ أو كُنَّا في عهد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم نأخذكم بالوحي وإن الوحي قد انقطع. That verily we used to take people into account during the time of the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم by the revelation, meaning that the revelation used to be sent down to the Messenger of Allah for different types of falsehood and different corruptive, not only ideologies but also people, certain people that Allah Ta'ala exposed, and He gave their characteristics of who they are and what they manifest as signs of people of corruption. So Umar al-Khattab said that verily during the time of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu, and we know that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu truly used to receive revelation about certain individuals and people, to the point where we know in certain narrations he told Hudayfa radiyallahu anhu, he said that there's so-and-so, and we know that Hudayfa kept the secret. To the point where even Umar asks, did the Messenger of Allah say that I was from amongst the munafiqeen? And Hudayfa mentioned to him, he said, he didn't say it was you, and that's all I'm going to say. He didn't say it was you, but that's all I'm going to say. But look to Umar al-Khattab, to the humbleness of Umar. He was from those who's guaranteed paradise. And he still was in fear for himself what? Hypocrisy. Even though there was the text to clearly show what? To clearly show that he was from those who will be given glad tidings of paradise. And despite of that, he still had fear that he was from the hypocrites. We know that hypocrisy is something severe. They even receive a punishment worse than the kuffar. Worse than the what? Worse than the kuffar of suraha. Those who's clearly upon kufr. The people upon hypocrisy receive a punishment worse than them. And Umar al-Khattab went to Hudayfa. So the Prophet ﷺ was given wahi to expose certain people during his time. He knew some of those who were upon hypocrisy, and people who were upon corruption, and people who were trying to corrupt the Muslims from within, which are the most dangerous forms of people. Those who impersonate and come in the ranks and try to destroy the Muslims from within them. Those are the most evil and most dangerous of people. But at any rate, the Prophet ﷺ received revelation based upon what Umar said in that athar, what he said, كُنَّا نَأْخُذُكُمْ بِالْوَحِي فِي عَهْدِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صلى الله عليه وسلم وَإِنَّ الْوَحِي قَدْ انْقَطَعَ وَإِنَّمَا نَأْخُذُكُمُ الْآنَ بِمَا ظَهَرَ لَنَا مِنْ أَعْمَالِكُمْ. Verily, the revelation has stopped, and verily we will take you now of what manifests to us of your actions. فَمَنْ أَظْهَرَ خَيْرًا أَمِنَّاهُ وَقَرَّبْنَاهُ وَلَيْسَ لَنَا فِي سَرِيرَتِهِ شَيْءٍ اللَّهُ يَحَاسِبُهُ فِي سَرِيرَتِهِ. That we know the narration as it says, he says, for verily now we take everyone into account based upon what the people manifest. If it's good, then we give him security, or we say that what you did was correct, or we say what you did was what? Incorrect. Based upon what manifests. And it's not for us to what? وَلَيْسَ لَنَا فِي سَرِيرَتِهِ شَيْءٍ. It's not for us now to dig inside of intention, or what is secret, or what he intended, or what he concealed. Allah will bring him to account of what he intended. So we said, Ya ma'ash al-ikhwa, that goes both ways. As we said that particular athar, let me finish it first. We said Umar al-Khattab has said in it, وَمَنْ أَظْهَرَ لَنَا سُوءًا فَلَمْ أَمِنَّاهُ وَمَا أَمِنَّاهُ وَمَا قَرَّبْنَاهُ وَإِنْ قَالْ إِنَّ سِرِيرَتُهُ حَسَنًا. He said, for verily the person that who committed evil, when he manifests evil, he says, مَا أَمِنَّاهُ وَلَمْ نَمِنَّاهُ وَلَمْ نَمِنْهُ وَمَا قَرَّبْنَاهُ وَإِنْ قَالْ إِنَّ سِرِيرَتُهُ حَسَنًا. He said, for verily the person now that manifests evil, he said, we will not give him security, meaning that we will what? We have to correct him. Even if they might say that his intention is good, or what he intended was good. Still, it's incumbent upon us to what? To advise. No matter what the person had done and manifested of good, then we what? We tell him to continue upon his good, and we encourage him. And if he does evil, depending on the circumstance, whether or not a person is a new shahada, he just became Muslim or what have you, then we deal with them in a certain manner. Whether or not he deserves some type of what? Gentleness in certain affairs, in certain circumstances, or in certain circumstances a person deserves some type of what? Some type of sternness or some type of assertiveness. But the point of the matter is, what we take from what Umar mentioned is what, everyone? That the person is corrected. He's corrected. And no one can say out of their mouth what? You don't know what I intended, akhi. As we see clearly that Umar al-Khattab is basically saying here, your intention is between you and who? Between you and Allah. All we know, all we have been what? Commanded is to correct the people or encourage the people and congratulate them based upon what will manifest to us. That's it. No more, no less. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Is everything clear? Jayyid. So that's what we discussed last class. So basically, where is this all? How is this go back to the hadith or the narration we've been discussing? It says that basically we're saying, just to make everything concise, to sum it up, that if Abu Talib did take shahada, if he uttered shahada, la ilaha illallah, if he had said that at the time when he dies, then we would consider that he died in the state of what? Islam. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Based upon the narration, what we brought of Usama bin Zayd, when he killed the person that said la ilaha illallah, and the Messenger of Allah ﷺ did not excuse him for what he did. Even though it was clear as the sun in the sky, a person would think that he was what? That what he did was justified. What he did, as far as in killing that individual, was totally justified. He killed certain people. He killed the Muslims, as it says in some of the narrations on the authority of Jundub ibn Abdullah, that even Usama bin Zayd was saying to the Messenger of Allah, he killed this person, he killed this person, he killed this person, he killed this person, he killed this person. And he even ran away when we wanted to try to catch him. Until when he was cornered, the sword was raised, he said, La ilaha illallah. Person that would think, based upon those type of qara'in, those different types of indications, what, everyone? That he just did it just to be protected from the what? From the sword. That's it. So a person would think that it was totally justifiable what Usama bin Zayd did, as it comes in the Sahih. But the message of Allah, did he accept it? No, he didn't. He manifested La ilaha illallah. As we know in the narration, the other Ansari, as I think in the narration it says it was Miqdab al-Aswad, when he heard it, he stopped. As soon as he uttered La ilaha illallah, when the sword was raised, he refrained. Usama bin Zayd thought what he was doing was what? Justified based upon what the man had did of crimes and corruption, of killing certain individuals, and running away from the sword and not pronouncing La ilaha illallah until the sword was what? Was about to be what? Was about to be brought down on, or about to be what? Killed, or what have you. So is it clear for what we're saying, Ya Ma'ashal Ikhwa? This is a methodology that everyone has to understand, because in it is refuting two deviant sects. From them is from those who tried to come to you, and we're not going to say they are deviants, those who are ignorant, because so usually the people that say this are from those who don't have knowledge or they haven't studied properly. Certain people will come and say, yeah, I only did that, you don't know what I did or what I intended. I intended nothing but good. That is this type of athar puts them in a place. Because you cannot say or do something evil and then say, ya akhi, I intended good. We know Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, with those who are making in the Ashab al-Hilaqa, as we know the hadith and the narration what happened with Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, that those people that were in that gathering, that were plucking stones and making dhikr with that innovative type of remembrance. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, then he said that same thing that we just said now. They said, oh Abdullah, oh yeah, Abu Abdurrahman, we only intended to accept good. The Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, did he what? Did he accept it from him? He said, how many people intend good, but they still never attain what they set out for? Meaning that even if you intend good, that's between you and Allah. But what you are doing is absolutely incorrect. And that's what we've been commanded to what? To correct. Based upon what manifests to us, for your intention is between you and Allah. So is it clear, everyone, that point? But like we talked about, keep in mind, for those who are not educated, maybe they're from somebody that's a new shahada. A person, like we said, might do something incorrect, making wudu wrong. You might see him in the wudu station making wudu wrong. You don't say, ya akhi, you make a wudu wrong. No. We said, based upon the circumstance, certain people deserve what? Gentleness. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? They need to be corrected with gentleness. They just became Muslim. Some of them didn't know. Some of them were not educated properly. They were not cultivated properly. Or they wasn't given the chance yet, maybe. It's a lot of probabilities. If that's the case, then you correct them with gentleness and kindness. You understand? But we're not going to now go to that extreme. In certain circumstances, we have to now be gentle. But there are circumstances that does necessitate what? Assertiveness. A person needs to be assertive with certain people, and especially those who are the callers of evil, and those who are the callers to misguidance, and calling people to what's incorrect. They're dealt with in another manner. You understand, everyone? And those people who deal with it are the people who are qualified and the people of knowledge. طيب. So as we go on and say, it's the Masalat al-Rabi'ah. Oh, what was the next one? طيب. So it says that the third, if we go back to our books, it says, say La ilaha illallah. In contrast of what the person that claims knowledge, in contrast with the person who claims knowledge to be upon. What is the Prophet, what is the great Imam, Sheikh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, what is he talking about here, everyone? He's speaking here about that how Abu Talib knew the correct meaning of La ilaha illallah. If you look in your books, everyone with me, or what matter with this we're talking about now? No, it's still in the third. We didn't get to the fourth yet. We didn't start on it yet. I'm still explaining the third. The third is talking about how Abu Talib understood the true meaning of La ilaha illallah. Which is what, everyone? Leaving off worship other than Allah. That was the interpretation of La ilaha illallah. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? That's the reason why the great Imam, Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Wahhab, said is al-mas'alat al-kabira, is the major matter. What is he speaking about? What the meaning of La ilaha illallah is. What is it? It was to leave off worship other than Allah. Why is he said in contrast to what those who claim to have knowledge are upon? Because there are people out there that said that La ilaha illallah does not mean leaving off worship other than Allah. There are people out there that said that La ilaha illallah means there's no Lord except Allah. There's no one that gives life except Allah, that gives death except Allah, that doesn't give provision except Allah, to the end of it. Or there's no ruler or judge except Allah, to the end of it. There are Muslims out there that said that's the meaning of La ilaha illallah. Is that correct, everyone? We said that is incorrect, even though La ilaha illallah, leaving off worship other than Allah, is the correct meaning, and what's implied in that is Tawheed al-Rububiyyah. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? They come together, they come hand in hand. Because we said last class, and I've repeated this, I said this more than once, that Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, Lordship of Allah, necessitates the worship of Allah. And the worship of Allah contains what? The Lordship of Allah. I'll say it again. The Lordship of Allah necessitates the worship of Allah. What do we mean by that? If you know that Allah is the one that doesn't give life, or the one that doesn't give, no one that gives except life or death, or provides except Allah, then if you have this belief, then you know that Allah is the one that deserves what? Worship. Type. When a person now carries out La ilaha illallah, then what? He's doing he's doing all the categories simultaneously at the same time. Meaning, once you actualize worship, at the same time, you are also likewise carrying out the category of the Lordship of Allah. When you raise your hands in dua, say, "Oh Allah, aid me in my endeavor or this difficulty times that I'm facing." Or this difficult time that I'm facing. When you make this dua to Allah, the action itself is worship. Why are you making this action worship? Because you have the belief that Allah is the one that can change your affair. Meaning, that's the Lordship of Allah. Is it clear what I'm saying? Is it clear, Caden? You're not just saying it just to say, yeah, right. Jay, you heard me, but did you comprehend what I said? Yeah, he said, yeah. Tayyib. We'll talk about it later. Don't worry. I go through the same thing with my kids. Tayyib. Don't worry, the paint will dry. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Tayyib. So that's what he's speaking here. Why? Because you will find that a lot of the Muslims in the Muslim world, the different countries, there are Muslims that actually say in contrast to what La ilaha illallah means and what Abu Talib believed and the mushrikeen during the time of the Prophet ﷺ believed, which was correct. They believed that the meaning of La ilaha illallah was there's nothing worthy of worship except Allah. That's why he's saying in your books here, in contrast to those who claim to have knowledge or upon. He's talking about the other deviant sects from the Muslims who have what? Deviated in this matter of understanding the proper meaning of La ilaha illallah. From the deviant sects that believe Tawheed or the Kalimat al-Shahada, La ilaha illallah means something else, such as the Asha'ira, such as the Maturidiyah, such as the Ahbash, such as the deviant sects, such as the Mu'tazila, as they have believe another meaning of La ilaha illallah, and the Asha'ira, especially the Asha'ira and the Maturidiyah. They are the majority of the Muslim world have this type of belief of the Asha'ira or the Maturidiyah. Majority of them say that La ilaha illallah. I just heard recently that someone said this. Everyone believes in there's no deity worthy worship except Allah. And he's somebody that what? That's upon deviance in the belief of the Asha'ira. And you'll find that Hamzah Yusuf and those who are upon his way and those who are around him from the different types of deviant sects from them is Nu'man Ali Khan, Hamzah Yusuf. All of them are in the same, all of them are together. Every single last one of them. You'll find that they say, oh, there's no grave importance on the Aqidah. It can be learned in 10, 15 minutes, you're good. There hasn't been no real emphasis put on this affair. It's not that big of a deal. And you'll find that they are the heads of those who are committing polytheism in these affairs. Especially Hamzah Yusuf. As Hamzah Yusuf encourages his followers, as I talked and discussed, he encourages his followers to memorize the Burda of Busayri that contains in it polytheism in Rububiyyah, not in Uluhiyyah, Rububiyyah. And he tells his followers to what? To memorize it. And he says, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, and you're calling the people to something not even the Kuffar Quraysh fell into. Not even the Kuffar Quraysh, even though he says, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Something that the Kuffar Quraysh didn't even fall into. And the proof of that is in this athar, in your book. If you look in your book, Abu Talib knew what it meant. The La ilaha illallah necessitated that I have to leave off everything in worship. Is what? I have to leave off everything that's associated as partners in worship except Allah. Abu Talib knew the proper meaning of it. That's why he didn't say it. He didn't say it because of, like we said, that blind enthusiasm that he was upon, or that fanaticism he was upon, that pulled him back to remain upon what? Kufr, even though he knew the true meaning of La ilaha illallah. So that's what the Imam is mentioning here, in contrast to those who claim to have knowledge. Is it clear, everyone? A lot of people will keep saying that, AbdurRazzaaq, why you keep repeating over and over again? Because I don't think I can repeat this affairs enough. I'm trying to finish the book, but at the end of the day, it's not just important to me that we finish this book. It's important that everyone truly benefited and everyone truly understood these affairs, because they are the utmost of importance that a lot of the Muslims have left off. The only people who are saved in these affairs is the Salafiyun and Ahl al-Haq. They are the only ones who realize the importance of these affairs. Everyone else has deviated to the point where they say these things are so superficial. Why are you waiting us wasting our time with these affairs? Don't you see what black people are being, they're being now? Dying left and right. Yeah, akhi, we know that killing is corruption in the earth. But if black people died in a state where they knew Tawheed, they're going to paradise, was nothing compared to this pathetic world we live in. Which more is more important? To prepare him for that world that's everlasting and get him in that paradise, in that bliss, or keep him in this pathetic world at the end of the day, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described it as it doesn't even add up to a wing of a mosquito with Allah. That's how pathetic and lowly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks at this world that we live in. What's more important? Preparing him for that state of his life, or trying to rectify his affairs of that which is worldly, but leaving off what's more important? Nobody's saying not to leave off worldly affairs. People should now work towards taking care of their families, because that's part of purifying your shahada. Purifying your testimony of La ilaha illallah, part of it is taking care of your family. Nobody's saying that. That's not the issue. But the main affair is the reality that everyone eventually and inevitably is going to die. There's no exception. And everybody clearly sees in this circle how fast their life is passing them by. And that they're slowly getting closer and closer and closer to the grave and the life of it. So why are we not preparing them for that life? Than to just say, yes, akhi, you don't know what was going on. One part of the ways that any race will be rectified is by these affairs. There's no getting around it. By any race. The only thing that's going to rectify any race, any ethnicity, any color, any type of what? Any type of jinsiyah, any type of watan, or whatever country you're from, color you are, the only thing that's going to rectify them is these matters. And the only methodology that's successful is the methodology of the prophets and messengers. That's the only methodology that's successful. Any other methodology is not going to be successful. It's going to end up in turmoil, and it's going to fail. There's no one that opposes the da'wah or the methodology of the prophets. You have seen that Allah Ta'ala has humiliated every call that goes in contrast to the methodology of the prophets and the messengers. And it's going to happen. There's no one that has a call to what's the call, so-called as they claim the truth, and they left off this affair, except that you will see that it will what? Fail. What's the proof of that? Allah Ta'ala says in his book, in Surah Ar-Ra'd, He says, وَأَمَّا الزَّبَدُ فَيَذْهَبُ جُفَاءً وَأَمَّا مَا يَنْفَعُ النَّاسِ فَيَمْكُثُ فِي الْأَرْضِ كَذَلِكَ يَضْرِبُ اللَّهُ الْأَمْثَالَ وَأَمَّا الزَّبَدُ فَيَذْهَبُ جُفَاءً وَأَمَّا مَا يَنْفَعُ النَّاسِ فَيَمْكُثُ فِي الْأَرْضِ. He says, in regards to the zabad, things that they have no benefit from them, especially those affairs which are evil that are in contrast to what Allah and His Messenger had came with, that opposes that. He said, Allah Ta'ala says, فَيَذْهَبُ جُفَاءً. It will fade away. As for that which truly benefits the people, it will remain in the earth. Just like that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala strikes examples. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? طيب. So Abu Talib, ya ma'ashal ikhwan, truly understood the meaning of La ilaha illallah. He knew the meaning of it, in contrast from the deviant sects such as the Asha'ira and the Maturidiyya, for verily they give the tafsir of La ilaha illallah other than what? Other than what was mentioned here. Also like other what we've been discussing now. You'll find that also from the great deviant sects, especially from the 90s, was a deviant sect that was calling to what they called the Hakimiyyah of Allah. The Hakimiyyah of Allah. That they say there's no Hakim except Allah. There's no judge and no ruler except Allah. And we'll talk about that, which is Tawheed al-Hakimiyyah, which is another tafsir of La ilaha illallah, which is also what? Incorrect. Even though Tawheed al-Hakimiyyah is initially from Rububiyyah. So how are you going to give the tafsir La ilaha illallah from something that's still from Rububiyyah? There's no Hakim except Allah. There's no judge or ruler except Allah. That was from the different fitan of what took place in the 90s, which they were calling to Tawheed al-Hakimiyyah, even here in this country. There were certain callers that were calling to this methodology. From them was Ali Tamimi. Some of you guys might be familiar with him. Some of you are not. But just to give you a heads up, these were the people that were calling to it even here. From them was Ali Tamimi. From them was Ja'far Idris. From them was Idris Palmer. From those, especially from Virginia in their area. I don't know where Ja'far Idris is now, but you'll find, especially from their successors, who you can tell their deviants they didn't benefit anything from their so-called ulama that they took from them. I don't know if you probably some of you have heard of his name. His name's Kamal Mekki. Kamal Mekki, he's a so-called Muslim comedian, and it's permissible to practice magic. And he brags about how I benefited from Ali Tamimi. He's from the greatest of my mashayikh, and he's from the greatest of the scholars I took knowledge from. And you say, look at your cultivation. Do you benefit anything from him to the point where you think that magic is permissible and that you're a Muslim comedian and you claim that you took knowledge from Ja'far Idris and Ali Tamimi and all these other matters. But you're here standing here practicing magic to show that what? You did not benefit and you were not cultivated or educated properly. Because no one that's upon the Sunnah, that's upon Tawheed, is practicing magic at all. Rather, they are distanced far away from that nonsense. But this is the type of calls that took place in the 90s, in which you'll probably hear, Allah knows best, if we're gone or if we die or we're past, they might try to what? Now bring this back to life, this type of deviance. And remember, I told you about this. And saying that there's no Hakim except Allah is also from Rububiyyah, and it does not mean La ilaha illallah. Is it here? Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Is it clear what I'm saying? Gee. The fourth mas'ala, الرابعة أن أبا جهل ومن معه يعرفون مراد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذ قال للرجل قل لا إله إلا الله فقبح الله من أبو جهل أعلم منه بأصل الإسلام. This is what he says here. It basically agrees with what we just mentioned. He said that Abu Jahl, listen what Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Wahab says. Look in your books. That Abu Jahl and who was with him had knowledge of what the Messenger of Allah ﷺ intended when he said to Abu Talib, say La ilaha illallah. Now listen to what he said. May Allah uglify the one who Abu Jahl was more knowledgeable in the understanding of the origin of Islam than him. What is he talking about? Does everyone understand the statement, Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Wahab? I'll say it again. Abu Jahl and who was with him. We know Abu Jahl was what? Was the greatest of enemies of Islam during the time of the Messenger of Allah ﷺ. That's clear, right, everyone? Abu Jahl. Of what he showed and displayed of enmity and hatred towards the call of the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, which was the call to Tawheed in Islam and Salafiyah. Where he says that Abu Jahl and who was with him knew what the Messenger of Allah intended when he said to his uncle, La ilaha illallah. Listen to what he says. May Allah uglify that who Abu Jahl is more knowledgeable than him in the origin of Islam, in the fundamentals of Islam. Is it clear what he's saying? So now it's as if Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Wahab is refuting who, everyone? The deviant sects. From the Sufiya, from those who believe, have the misinterpretation or the warped understanding of La ilaha illallah from the what? The Asha'ira and the Maturidiyya, especially those who are upon Sufiya and Shi'iyya and other than them. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So as if he's what? Talking about them. So you'll find in these books, Ma'ish al-Ikhwa, I want everyone to pay attention to what I'm saying here. Notice Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Wahab refuted deviant sects. He refuted sects in these statements. So no one try to say that, well, what was his refutation? Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Wahab focused on those who said they were Muslim and ascribed to Islam, but still they were calling this something that's in total contrast to what the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam called to. And he to the point where he made dua against the individual, saying, may Allah uglify the one who Abu Jahl is more knowledgeable than you in the fundamentals of Islam. Is it clear what I'm saying? Which is he saying here, everyone? That Abu Jahl knew the correct meaning of what? La ilaha illallah. Even though he was the greatest enemies against Islam. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear what I'm saying? What's your question? Abu Jahl was also one from the uncles of the Prophet ﷺ. Abu Talib was his uncle and Abu Jahl was his uncle. Both of them was his uncle. Both of them. His own uncle was one of the greatest enemies of Islam towards the Prophet ﷺ. His own uncle. Abu Lahab also. Abu Lahab also. Abu Lahab, Abu Jahl, all his uncles. Abu Talib was his uncle too. His Messenger of Allah had how many uncles? Abbas. I got to count. Ibn al-Qayyim mentions it in Zad al-Mu'ad. I just got to review it. But he had a lot of uncles. The Messenger of Allah. What did he have? 5? What did he have? 6? I got to go back to Zad al-Mu'ad. But anyway, is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Jayid. Khamisat, the 5th. جده ومبالغته في إسلام عامة. He says you'll find the Prophet ﷺ's diligence in his hard work and efforts in the Islam of his uncle. His diligence and his high efforts. What does they say in your books? How they translate it? Jid means like hard work, and that means that I think it's hard work and his diligence towards trying for his uncle to be what? To be Muslim. طيب. Also what we take from this here, and I want everyone to also be, I want everyone to listen to this part. That the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had showed and displayed that diligence and that hard work towards his uncle of doing the best type of ihsan, the best type of excellence that anyone could do with his family is to make them, to aid them in entering the fold of Islam. Aiding them in entering the fold of Islam is the best duty that one could do for anyone, because that's rectification of their hereafter, of where they will what inevitably be permanently. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So that's the best of ihsan that anyone could do, of excellence or duty that one can what? Call one to. So you'll find that he says that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam put forth that effort in what? Trying to make him take shahada. Which is also now brings us to another benefit. That the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said another authentic hadith, as we know, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالْخَوَاتِيمِ. Verily the actions that are very, very heavy is the actions which are done last, right before you die, which you died upon. Even though it's incumbent upon a person to be upright all throughout his life. Why? A person would say, well, let me just do good deeds at the last part of my life, I'm good. No. Person has been obliged to do uprightness all throughout his life, because what you do all throughout your life is what will push you and aid you to having that good ending. You understand, everyone? In contrast to what evil a person does or he conceals, how it can lead up to a person having an effect as far as how what he would die upon. It would state he would die upon. For verily, we know the Messenger of Allah said in authentic hadith, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالْخَوَاتِيمِ. Verily, the actions that are very important is those actions which are done lastly, meaning what you die upon, what's been sealed is the last thing you died upon. So, al-iyadu billah, that a person, as we know, we have heard stories that people have died in a state of disbelief or uttering kufr at the last part of their life, or, for example, at the time of their death. The shaitan will not cease to try to return you back to kufr even at your deathbed. He will continue, Caden. He will continue to be your enemy even all the way up to the last part when you die. As we know, that happened to Imam Ahmed rahimahullah. Where we know from the narration of Imam Ahmad that he used to say, Ba'tu, Ba'tu, Ba'tu. There was a narration that he said that. Not yet, not yet, not yet. What was he talking about? They said that the narrations that said Imam Ahmad right before he died, he said, not yet, not yet, not yet. And they asked him, what did you mean? What was going on? They said, Shaitan, but basically was saying to him, let me make fitna of you, Ahmad. Let me make fitna of you. Let me allow you to what? Cause some fitna in your religion. So come on. He says that. He said, let me make fitna on you, Ahmad. And Imam Ahmad kept fighting and saying, not yet, meaning the soul hasn't left yet. The soul hasn't departed yet, and Shaitan is still trying to make him fall into something which is displeasing to Allah, to his deathbed. And though Shaitan is always upon those who are upon clarity in every affair, as far as his worship and as far as him being firm upon the sunnah and salafiyah. The Shaitan is going to be even on top of you even more, to try to make you fall into some type of discrepancy in your religion or in your belief or in your methodology or in you being upright or what have you to the end of it. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Up to your deathbed. As Imam Ahmad kept saying that statement, not yet, not yet, not yet. And it says in the narration that Shaitan kept saying to him, Da'ni aftinuka ya Ahmad. Let me put you to trial, Ahmad. Allow me to cause some fitna on you. Meaning that I cause fitna on so-and-so. I cause fitna on so-and-so. I cause fitna on so-and-so to fall into this and fall into this type of deviance or this type of discrepancy in his belief. I call this person to be what? Deviated from what's correct. Let me put you to test. And Imam Ahmad kept fighting it to the point where, like we said, the soul departed from his body, rahimahullah. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So that the last actions of what one dies upon, they are the most important. And that is the reason why a person constantly asks Allah to be with ta'ala to what? Allow him to be upon steadfast and upright all the way up to his what? To his deathbed, to his last breath. There is a narration where the Prophet ﷺ made this dua. He said, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hadam wa a'udhu bika min al-taraddi, a'udhu bika min al-gharq wal-harq wal-haram, wa a'udhu bika yatakhabbatani ash-shaytanu 'inda al-maut, wa a'udhu bika an amuta fi sabilik mudbiran, wa a'udhu bika an amuta ladighan, wa fi riwayah wa min al-gham. There's a narration. The Prophet ﷺ had mentioned, he said, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hadam, wa a'udhu bika min al-taraddi, wa a'udhu bika min al-gharq wal-harq, wa a'udhu bika min al-gharq wal-haram wal-harq. Let me start over there. I just said it. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hadam wa a'udhu bika min al-taraddi, a'udhu bika min al-gharq wal-harq wal-haram, wa a'udhu bika yatakhabbatani ash-shaytanu 'inda al-maut, wa a'udhu bika an amuta fi sabilik mudbiran, wa a'udhu bika an amuta ladighan wa min al-gham. The narration says, "O Allah, I seek refuge in you from hadam, from being destroyed, and I seek refuge in you in taraddi." Meaning that you're in a state where you're progressing, then you start falling down. Like taraddi is like going to becoming lowly, going down to becoming now humiliated. أعوذ بك من الهدى وأعوذ بك من التردي أعوذ بك من الغرق والحرق والهرم. I seek refuge you that die from drowning or being burnt up or elderly age or old decrepit age. Now this is the point where I mentioned this hadith. I seek refuge you that shaitan or Satan beat me down at the time when I die. That he tried to take me over. That he tried to persuade me or rock me or shift me for what's correct. You understand, everyone? See the importance of these supplications? He says, وَأَعُوذُ بِكَ يَتَخَبَّطِنِ الشَّيْطَانَ عِنْدَ الْمَوْتِ وَأَعُوذُ بِكَ نَمُوتَ فِي سَبِيلِكَ مُدْبِرًا. And I seek refuge in that I die and I'm fleeing away in jihad. Meaning that if there was a legislated battle with the Muslims, which there isn't right now, everyone, if there was a legislated jihad, as we know from the most major destructive of sins, is that one flees away during the battle. So the Prophet seek what? Refuge in that. And he says, وَأَعُوذُ بِكَ نَمُوتَ فِي سَبِيلِكَ مُدْبِرًا وَأَعُوذُ بِكَ نَمُوتَ لَدِيغًا وَمِنَ الْغَمِّ. And I seek refuge in Allah that I will what? Be stung or bit by what? A sting, or I die from a sting. And I seek refuge in you from grief and sadness. Right. So this is to let you know, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, how it's important that one try to what? Live upon uprightness, Caden, all the way up to the last part of his life. And we should make these supplications because they're very important. And we know the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, that he mentioned and said, and that tremendous hadith talking about how the wahi was true and the revelation was correct. As it says in the last part of the narration, everyone, وَإِنَّ أَحَدَكُمْ لَيَعْمَلُ بِعَمَلِ أَهْلِ الْجَنَّةِ حَتَّى يَكُونَ بَيْنَهُ وَبَيْنَهَا إِلَّا ذِرَاعٌ فَيَسْبِقُ عَلَيْهِ الْكِتَابُ فيعمل بعمل أهل الجنة يعمل بعمل أهل النار فيدخلها وإن أحدكم ليعمل بعمل أهل النار حتى يكون بينه وبينها إلا ذراع فيسبق عليه الكتاب فيعمل بعمل أهل الجنة فيدخلها. Verily one of you will do the actions of the people of paradise until it's not between anything and him entering it except the arm span. Then what has been destined for him will precede him, what has been written out. And he will do the people and the actions of the people of hellfire, and if he dies in that state, he will enter it. And then the person might do the people, the actions of the people of hell. Until it's between him and entering it an arm span, then the book precedes him. What is he talking about? The divine decree and destiny of Allah. Well, now what? Take over. And he will do the people and the actions of the people of paradise, and he will enter it. You'll find that Ahl Ilm say about this particular narration, that hadith of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, which we just discussed, is talking about the state that you die in, the last deeds that you die upon. The last deeds that you die upon is the deeds that is very important. And those deeds are what? Are the deeds in which one asks Allah Ta'ala to what? To now make it, as they say, husn al-khatima, asking Allah Ta'ala to give him a good ending and be sealed and died upon in a state that is good, being firm upon the sunnah, being firm upon uprightness, and leaving off his evil. For verily one has to work hard to try to rid himself from all the pollutants of evil within himself, because at that very moment in the last part of his life, it could take over. And he could die in that state if he's not careful of what he is upon of evil. That evil that's left can what? Take over in that last part. That's the reason why it's incumbent upon us to be upright all throughout one's life, to the best of his ability, so it could be a means for tawfiq, so that he will be sealed, or his last deed that he does before he departs this dunya will be something what? Something good, in which he dies upon. And we know that there are people out there, it's the opposite. Person will be upon the wrath of Allah, under the wrath of Allah for the majority of his life, until something of a little bit of sincerity in his heart and belief in Allah takes over. And he's right at his deathbed, and he utters La ilaha illallah, and he dies upon that, person of paradise. That little bit of ikhlas and belief in Allah took over at his deathbed. And how many people of stories that we know has happened to those type of people? Person are living up in disbelief all the way up to the last moment in their life they took shahada. That little bit of ikhlas that had, or if they would have heard the truth, took over, and they became for the people of paradise. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Is it clear? Jayyid. طيب. So that's what Abu Talib, that's what happened to him, is a clear narration which he, nasallahu ya'afina wa yakum, defended the message of Allah. He was one of the most knowledgeable of those of La ilaha illallah. His uncle knew the message of Allah, knew his message, knew of what it came of rectification, of uprightness, and one rectifying, purifying himself. His uncle witnessed the etiquette and the pure, great uprightness of the message of Allah, alayhi salatu wasalam, but he still died in a state where it was not good. Which is what? Is to let everyone know that the actions was considered is the last one which one dies upon, until you clearly see in your book, everyone, that Abu Talib became from the people of the hellfire. Even though he what? Witnessed what he witnessed of what? Of the truth. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So that you see how it's applicable to what we're talking about now? Of what Abu Talib died upon. Is it clear? جيد. طيب. السادسة الرد على من زعم إسلام عبد المطلب وأسلافه. The refutation upon those who claim Islam of Abdul Muttalib wa Aslafi. He's talking basically about those from the Sufiya, from those from the deviant sects of the Sufiya. Pay attention. Write this down too if you're able. Those who claim, you'll find that they're from, especially from the Sufiya, they'll say, min Sadatina or Sayyiduna Abu Talib or Abdul Muttalib. They'll say that our master or our Sayyid, Abu Talib. Sayyid Abu Talib, they'll call him. Or Sayyid Abdul Muttalib. Basically, they're saying that Abdul Muttalib was Muslim and also Abu Talib was Muslim. That both of them were Muslims. Taib, you tell them, what about these narrations? Oh no, we won't accept that. Taib, these narrations are in the Sahihain. This ayah, certain ayahs were revealed about the Islam of Abu Talib, and the Messenger of Allah was commanded not to make istighfar for him. No, we don't accept that. Huh? Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Is it clear what I'm saying? Taib, we know the narration of the man who came to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He asked him about his father. He said, Aina Abi? He said, Finnar. May Allah preserve us and keep us far away from the hellfire. As the man came to the Messenger of Allah, clearly, it says in the narration, where is my father? He says, your father is in the hellfire. So then the man went away. فَلَمَّا قَفَ الرَّجُلُ When he turned his qafa, when he turned his back, the Prophet ﷺ was revealed of knowledge, was revealed of some wahi, then he called the man back. Because we know that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ had the best etiquette. For now, for a person to come and say, where's my father? And you just see your father's in hell, and then turn away, that's something severe. That man, subhanAllah, my father's in hell? And just walked away. So the Messenger of Allah called him back. And he said to him, he said, Abi, he said, Inna ummi wa abi finnar. My father and my mother's in hell. He said they're in the hellfire. You understand, everyone? So the Prophet ﷺ said, no. He said, my father and my mother what? He said, oh, let me just make sure. You got me now. I want to check by myself. Usually I'm right as soon as I think they're... Excuse me, everyone. I have to find this. Alhamdulillah, I found it. Good. عن أنس بن مالك أن رجلا قال يا رسول الله أين أبي؟ قال في النار فلما قف دعاه قال إن أبي وأباك في النار. That's the narration. Alhamdulillah. He said that the man said, oh, my message of Allah is my father. He said, your father is in the hellfire. So for them, he turned away, he called him back. He said, verily my father and your father is in the hellfire. That's the narration. Verily my father and your father is in the hellfire. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? And we know from the other narration that the Prophet ﷺ visited the grave of his mother and he wept. That narration shows that his mother was what? Likewise in hellfire. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us. He said that my mother's in the hellfire. So the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, he said, then to Rabbi, I seek permission from my Lord. He forbade me for seeking forgiveness for her. And he allowed me to what? For now to visit the grave. Verily, visiting the grave reminds of the hereafter. So the message of Allah before that, it was prohibited to visit the graves. At one point, it was prohibited. Totally prohibited. Out of fear that the people will fall into what? Polytheism. Start to believe in superstitions, myths, and all this other nonsense that shaitan inspires the people to come with. Taib. Then after the revelation, after the aqidah, the people belief system became, once the Sahaba, when they became engrossed inside of the correct, strong aqidah and belief, then the Messenger of Allah, after that, allowed them to visit the grave for only one reason, which was the what? Remind them of the hereafter, or to make dua for those who died in the state of Islam, and giving glad tidings to those who died in the state of hellfire. Is it clear? For those purposes only. That the only reason that a person visits the grave is for him to be reminded of the hereafter. That to look at the grave and say, inevitably, this will be me here under this dirt. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? That inevitably, this is my abode, will be here in this dirt under here, I'm going to be right here. To remind me of this place, to get me to be what? Get me straight, to be upright. Is it clear what I'm saying? Preparing me for this reality coming. That's the right message of Allah had allowed it after the people's aqidah and belief system had became what? Strong, and their foundation was what? Settled, and it was sound, and it was upright, and it was strong. Because we know, like we said before, that up to that time when the message of Allah said that, it was prohibited to visit the graves. Prohibited. Until that point, the Prophet ﷺ said that Allah gave me permission now for what? That the people visit the grave only for be remembered, to be reminded of the what? Of the hereafter and death. That's it. And also, if one was to pass by it, then he would what? Make dua for the Muslimun. And he would give glad tidings to those who died in the state of kufr, of the hellfire. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from the hellfire. But is it clear? For these narrations, just to sum up everything in your book, what does it say, everyone? The refutation against those who claim the Islam of who? Of Abdul Muttalib and his uncle Abu Talib. And you'll find, especially for those from the Sufis that believe this, that they say Sayyiduna. They'll say our master Abu Talib, or our master Abdul Muttalib. After these narrations clearly show where their abode was. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Is it clear? طيب. The seventh, كونه استغفر له فلم يغفر له بل نهي عن ذلك. نسأل الله يعافينا وإياكم. That the message of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم has sought forgiveness for him, and he was not forgiven for, meaning the uncle, Abu Talib. Rather, he was prohibited to do that. I think that's clear, right, everyone? طيب. The eighth, مضرة أصحاب السوء على الإنسان. He said the harms of evil companions and friends upon a person. مضرة أصحاب السوء على الإنسان. The harm of the evil of one's friends, or the corruption of one's friends, and the evil of his companions upon a person. How they can corrupt you, and they can what? Lead you upon their way until one can die in the evil state, and they can have a heavy influence upon what you end up, or where you will end up. I think that's clear. طيب. Also, the ninth, مضرة تعظيم الأسلاف والأكابر. The harm of glorifying evil predecessors and those from the so-called prominent. How did he translate that, everyone? Ancestors and elders? Yeah. Glorification of those evil predecessors and elders. You want to add evil, that will put more emphasis on, put more clarification. If you put evil in your books. تعظيم الأسلاف والأكابر. The harm of glorifying evil ancestors or predecessors and elders. I think that's clear, right, everyone? I think that's clear, inshallah. The 10th, استدلال الجاهلية بذلك. Using jahiliyyah as evidence for that. Meaning of what they used to commit, of what? Of the different types of corruption that they used to do previously before Islam and the revelation was revealed. And what they were upon of polytheism, and what they were upon of worship of other than Allah. Is it clear, everyone? That one can use that as evidence. There's something else I wanted to talk about, but we'll speak about it later, inshallah. الحادي عشرة, the 11th, الشاهد لكون الأعمى بالخواتيم لأنه لو قالها لنفعته. He says the point of evidence that the actions, or the last actions which one dies upon, if he was to had said it, meaning La ilaha illallah, it would have benefited him. We talked about that already. Alhamdulillah. طيب. الثانية والثامن عشرة, the last one, التأمل في كبر هذه الشبهة في قلوب الضالين لأن في القصة أنهم لم يجادلوه إلا بها مع مبالغته وتكريره فلأجل عظمتها ووضوحها عندهم اقتصروا عليها. جيد. He says, contemplating the last part, contemplating, alhamdulillah, we got to the last part and the bell just rung. Contemplating in how tremendous this ambiguity was. What is the ambiguity talking about, everyone? He says, in the hearts of those who are astray. Meaning, blind fanaticism to clinging to what one's forefathers were upon. Or what one's parents or ancestors were upon, or traditions of things that were clearly wrong. And so we said or talked about the poetries. It says in the poetry, فَإِن صَحَبْتَ فَاصْحَبِ فَإِن صَحَبْتَ فَاصْحَبْ خِيَارَهُمْ. Matter of fact, hold on, let me go back. Yeah, that was right. وَإِذَا مَا صَحَبْتَ فَاصْحَبْ خِيَارَهُمْ وَلَا تَصْحَبِ الْأَرْضَ فَتَرْدَى مَعَ الرَّدَى, as it says in poetry. فَإِذَا مَا صَحَبْتَ الْقَوْمَ فَاصْحَبْ خِيَارَهُمْ وَلَا تَصْحَبِ الْأَرْضَ فَتَرْدَى مَعَ الرَّدَى. There's one narration, one poetry, it says that he's talked about how blind of a fanatic he was to his tribe. One narration, it says that if they, my tribe, are guided, then I'll follow them, then I'm rightly guided. And even if they are wrong and they are oppressors and they are misguided, then you might as well call me likewise misguided along with them. That's how my blind of fanaticism can reach to a certain level with certain people. Even if they know that they're clearly wrong. Khalas, that's my traditions. That's what I'm upon. I don't even care if they're wrong. I'm sticking to it. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So that's what he talked about here. How the evil companions of Abu Talib utilized that. Utilized this type of blind fanaticism that he was clinging to as a reason for him to what? Die upon what was incorrect. Listen to what he says. He says, to contemplate on this tremendous ambiguity in the hearts of those who are astray, because you'll find in the story that they didn't lam yujadilu. He said that they didn't argue with him except by that particular what? Ambiguity, by that doubtful matter. Even though the Messenger of Allah ﷺ kept repeating and putting emphasis on what's correct. And for that reason, and for how tremendous it was in his heart, and how clear it was with him, they restricted to what? Just sticking to that. They didn't go outside of that. Because they knew how much they could be what? How much of an influence and an impact it was going to have on his what? Of his heart. So they utilized that in order to what? Until he died upon that what? That particular evil. And they restricted to utilizing that. Are you going to go out die in the state where are you going to go get your grandma? Are you going to go get your father? You going to go? No, I'm just giving you an example. It's kind of rhetorical. Are you going to go with your father? Are you going to go with your grandma? Your great grandma was upon this. You're going to leave off the traditions. This has been in your family for years. This has been something we've been practicing. Your mother, your grandfather, your aunts, your uncles, your family, your tribe, everyone. You want to lead us off? Utilizing that. Dang. You understand? They utilized this to the point where he died in this what? In the state of the most evil state that any human being could die in. Dying. State of disbelief in Allah wa ta'ala. And utilizing this and how tremendous it can be in the hearts of certain individuals, and to the point where it could be led down the path of destruction to one's inevitable abode eternally, will be the inevitable abode of hell for the rest of eternity. And how this affair could be utilized for this. And that's what he was mentioning here in the last part. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear or not? Gee, we'll stop here. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك وأشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Any questions about the lesson, brothers? تفضل.